Hello everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Suits Goes Live Lights Out. Once again, my name is Christabel and my co-host Sean and I are joined today by Iain and from Spaces Yang Yang and Yutong. Today we will be talking about Acads, exams and mental health. Would you all like to introduce yourselves?
So, hi, I'm Iain. I'm a year 1 and just normal LLB, no double degree or anything, yeah.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Yang Yang from Spaces and I'm year 1 as well, LLP.
Hi, so I'm Tong and I'm also from Spaces. I'm currently in year 2 and I'm just chilling right now.
So thank you guys for coming today. How has your year 1 or your law school, career been so far? Maybe a short summary or sentence or two.
Alright, I'll go first then. Sure. I think my law school journey is kind of full of ups and downs. Downs mainly because I guess it's more of the Acads part as well as the socializing part. And the ups is definitely your friends now. You have your moral support and stuff, so it's great.
Yeah, I think it's generally been pretty tiring so far because you're gonna have we have a lot of content to learn in only a span of 12, 14 weeks around there. But I think the best part so far has really been the people, the friends that I've met and really gotten a chance to get to know and interact with, and that's definitely the highlight of my law school life so far. And I think it's still been a relatively enjoyable experience, even though it's been tiring at times.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree. The main thing I have to say about my first year was just that time passed super quickly, because when you spend so much time covering content and more or less doing work, even if it's not exactly academic, there becomes very little time for you to make new experiences. But those small pockets of time, those small experiences, just going out to eat lunch, chilling anywhere, doing nonsense with your friends, those are what really made my year 1 pop. Yeah.
Thank you. So maybe we can start a bit more on the academic side of law school. So maybe you guys can share how academically, maybe specifically also for the freshies, year 1, sem 1 was for y'all, if you remember. And maybe what you found difficult when it came to adjusting more so to the academic side of picking up content and learning these new things. Yeah, maybe also year 2, if you don't remember.
Alright, sure, I'll go first. So I guess for the academics part, it's definitely, I would say, a step up from what I've been used to, secondary school, JC, all those times. I guess it's mainly because essay writing is not really my forte. So this is definitely something that I really have to improve on my essay writing skills to make sure that it's clear and coherent, make sure that I tackle the point, make sure I don't really, not answer the question, because answering the question is crucial if you want to gain scores. And I suppose another thing is definitely with the moods that's to go on in year 1. That one is definitely an entirely new experience for me as well. I was never into a debating or mooting club before, so public speaking wasn't really something that I'm very prone to or exposed to. So definitely have to gain confidence for that. But your tutors will definitely lead you to different practices, weekly practices, so you're ready for it. So ultimately you don't have to worry too much. Worrying will just lead to more panicking, and so ultimately you just need to chill down a bit and make sure that you just go with the flow. Your tutors will be there to guide you, your friends there to help you, so ultimately don't stress out too much about it. Yeah.
Okay, I honestly really agree 100% that year 1, sem 1 is a very, very big jump from everything that you've experienced before, because law is a very, very different kind of subject. It's I feel like it's a hybrid between science and humans in a way, because it demands you to be able to write clearly and coherently, writing well, but it also demands certain aspects that science students will really excel at, which is getting to the point, getting all the intricacies. So if I were to really give any advice, it would just really to be patient with yourself, because in sem 1, really the important part is finding your footing. It's honestly not really about doing super well and stuff like that, because you can't really have such insane expectations for yourself, because really you only end up burning out, because you don't really want to end up in a situation where you put such huge expectations on yourself, and then everything doesn't really go as planned, and then you get upset about it. So yeah, I would really just say that it is a big jump, but it is definitely not impossible, especially if you have support from your friends. It will be fine.
Iain, do you have anything to add?
I think mostly similar. I just want to add on a bit more about the point on expectations. So I think one important thing is to manage your expectations, because for sure in terms of academics, there is a big jump and there is a lot to cover. There's also other aspects of life that you have to worry about. Like, there's really no point coming to school if all you do is study. You also need to have friends, you need to have a life in general. So when you do that, you need to manage your expectations. If you give more time to, say, CCA, subclubs, doing stuff on main campus instead, or for example, if you stay in hall, that kind of thing, you can't expect to be like scoring perfect grades and stuff. And similarly, if you put all your time into academics, you can't expect to be having much fun. So it depends on what you want out of law school. Law school is really what you make of it. You just need to find that balance for yourself.
Yeah, I think talking about expectations, for me, I found that it was very useful, I guess, coming into law school to change the way I looked at grades and things like that. So I think coming into law school where everyone has consistently been scoring, I guess, at the top of their class or doing very well, and recognizing that, so I myself changed my own expectations coming into law school to not expect A's, and I think that has really helped me do the academic ups and downs because I do think it is quite difficult. Yeah, Sean, do you have anything to add?
I think the main gist of what we are saying, or what most of us feel, is that it is really dependent on how well or how you decide to balance your law school life, because you can't have everything. And of course there are a few edge cases of geniuses who can stay in hall and still get good grades, like certain people, but most of us aren't geniuses or prodigies, and you have to sort of come to terms with that, especially if you have been doing consistently well in JC and whatever. So tailoring expectations is very important, and while it is always good to aim high and ask yourself for the best, like try and get the best result possible, it is also important to pace yourself and basically be realistic in a way, so that you do not, number one, as what Yang Yang has mentioned, you do not burn out, which is very, very important. And more importantly is you keep your mental position in check. Yeah.
I think speaking about burning out, and I guess since I introduced them as being from spaces, we should I guess get to the point of what is spaces and how y'all help balance mental health and academic stress. Yeah.
Alright, so I'll just do a brief introduction of what Spaces do. So Spaces is basically a student-led mental health interest group. So it is actually quite new. It was just initiated sometime in September in 2021, so it's last year. And currently it's approved by the faculty and the deanery. So the aim of this whole initiative is mainly to fill up any existing gaps that exist with regards to student well-being. For example, currently we are aware that some students, they brought up the issue that there's not a permanent counseling service here at BTC itself. Rather, it's more so at Kent Ridge, which might be quite troublesome for some students to go to when they really need such mental health support from professionals. This is one of the reasons. Another one could be because in law school we don't really have much, there's a lack of, I guess, openness, lack of honesty as to mental health. A lot of people don't really, I guess they talked about it, but it's not very in-depth. It's more sort of a surface level. So it would be good to really go in-depth about it and have an open session with everyone, with all the students, not only LLB students, but also LMM or like Juris Doctorate students. And yeah, you want to talk about initiatives?
So Spaces organises different events as well, which we use to help spread mental health awareness and also give the students on BTC campus a chance to relax as well. So we also, before exams, we always have a day where we decorate a room and set up an area, like a nap area usually. Then we have bean bags and pillows. We also have activities during that day like plant potting for students who want to take plants home. We have mini painting sessions, and we also have snacks and drinks and stuff that people might want to take that you might want to snack on when you're studying. So we always have those before exam season because we know it's very, very important to get some rest even when you are mugging for finals. So we have also organised pet therapy sessions which students have attended and you get to interact with. So far I think we've had dogs and horses.
Yeah, oh, there's cats also.
Yeah, and cats as well. So, but one of the key initiatives in Spaces as well is what we call the peer support group. So me and Yu Tong are the co-directors of the peer support group, and we chair a team of 15 peer student supporters. All of us have gone through training by professionals from the Health Promotion Board, and we have been equipped with some para-counseling skills and how to deal with instances where students are at risk of having like suicidal thoughts and things like that. And that's very, very important because bridging back to what Yu Tong said earlier, BTC is a completely separate campus from the main campus. We don't exactly have the luxury of going directly to the health center where the counseling services are. So it's always good to have a team on hand to deal with certain situations. But of course, our role isn't just limited to that. We can also, people can sign up to be peers and sign up to be mentored by a certain peer student supporter, and they can meet for sessions once every few weeks or however many sessions that they need to really get things off their chest or just to have someone to confide to. Because the other thing about Spaces is that we always want to make sure that people have someone that they can turn to when they're facing difficult situations, because law school is not a thing that you want to have to go through alone. And on top of that, we also have a team that helps to produce videos, and we interview seniors and practitioners about mental wellness in the industry. And we have a long episode about mental wellness when you're looking for your training contract, so that might be very relevant as well.
And tying back, I would just like to say a little bit more about the PSG, the peer support group. So basically for that is also a one-on-one session with your peer, PSS, the peer student supporter, and they also sign a confidentiality kind of contract kind of thing. So can rest assured that it will be somewhat of a very comfortable experience. Our PSS will make sure that it will be a relaxing one for you, so you don't have to worry too much or like hesitate to really reach out to them. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So maybe if any of y'all are comfortable with sharing, do you think you could share with the freshies maybe how your mental health has, I guess, kind of fared across year one or law school, just so that they know maybe what to expect or what could happen? Yeah, and also to share and I guess show that they are not alone if they are feeling upset or a bit down about adjusting and transitioning into law school.
So I think in Sem 1, especially in the first few weeks, I would definitely say that I struggled quite a bit, like mentally as well, and I felt pretty down and really stressed because I had really come into law school not really sure if this was something that was for me. And I also felt a lot of pressure because when we started attending classes, I felt like I didn't really catch things as quickly as other people did. And I just really wondered, like, okay, so honestly, what am I going to do? Because I just feel like maybe I'm not really cut out for this. But I think that really got better with time because I did reach out to friends and I voiced my concerns and I said, like, look, I really just need to talk about this because I really don't know how to deal with how I'm feeling about all these things. And that really, really helped me because a lot of times if you don't talk to your friends or talk to other people, you often feel like you're the only person feeling a certain way. So when you start to talk to your friends, you realize that a lot of people in school feel like they're struggling, or they might not be catching things as quickly as, you know, the top students and stuff like that. And that's completely okay. It's okay to feel like you need to reach out. It's okay to feel upset. As long as you reach out, it will honestly be okay. So I think semester 1, even though it was tough in the very beginning, it got a lot better after like the first 4 weeks. And I think semester 2, it was only really manageable because, once again, I felt like I had a very good support system. Because semester 2 is when people tend to be pretty tired, because you really only have winter break, which is like 1 month between your 2 semesters, and you're bombarded with new modules again, so you have to kind of, you can't carry over anything from sem 1. So, and that's when you have the moods also, so it can get really stressful and tiring, but it's fine, it's manageable, it's very, very manageable when you have support.
I think for me, my experience was slightly different because personally I like to compartmentalize things a bit. So like I tried to keep work to work, having fun to having fun, and quickly I realized that that wasn't exactly feasible in law school because so many of the friends you make are made in class or made in more academic settings. Yeah, and unfortunately, quite a bit of the time you spend with your friends may end up somehow shifting to academics, even when you guys are trying to have fun. It's not great, but it happens. So ultimately, I think in the end, it's pretty much the same as what has been said. You just need to have your solid support group. Once you have your group of friends to go with, I think, yeah, somehow you'll just turn out of that. You'll all be stressed together, and that makes things much better. Way better than being stressed alone, I would say. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, from my experience, I would say year 1, I was mainly stressed alone. So I think it was mainly due to, I guess, could be due to COVID, because it was when the online lectures were happening and stuff. Especially in Sem 1, there wasn't a lot of in-person meetings, even for the moods. Usually some other classes, they'll meet in person, but for mine, we didn't really get to meet in person as well. So I guess connecting was a bit harder for me. And I think that point of time, I wasn't able to, I would say I was alone most of the time with regards to law school activities. So anything related to academics or like law school life, it was pretty isolating. So I wasn't in like the best mental health state, I would say. But I think in Sem 3 it was a bit better because I was able to find someone I was able to connect with. And just mainly bond through not only law school stuff but external stuff as well. So that was, I guess it kind of motivated me as well. And it definitely made me less hesitant to want to, I guess, be in law school, I would say. But there's also another part of me where I was like, I feel like an imposter sometimes, like going back to Imposter Syndrome. That definitely questioned my position, questioned my life choices a bit. And I was also considering changing courses. But in the end, I was like, you know what, I'm already here. I'll just push through. And plus, the people around me, they're very supportive. And with them, I believe that I could definitely be able to get through this. And not only law school, but also future life as well. So it's something that keeps me motivated and keeps me going on. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Can I ask, when did, I guess, spaces come into, I guess, the picture, or like, did spaces in any way help you along this journey in between year 1 and year 2 of law?
I would say for spaces, it was started last year. So me and Yang Yang, I think we got into the committee like, when did we get into the committee? Around September as well, actually. The PSS thing that was officially started this year at around, I would say May, not May, a bit before, not May, sorry. I think somewhere around end of March, yeah. So throughout from September to I suppose March, me and Yang Yang were mainly, I guess, working together to create this PSS group from scratch. So we had to find a PSS, interview them, select a few to qualify as a PSS, and afterwards we have to set up websites as well. So through this process, definitely there were a lot of communications, which I believe helped a bit, because personally communicating just for a bit with other people, it helps me somehow, right? Because I don't feel that alone, you know, because you're actually engaging with people. So that's something which I found quite fruitful. And plus, being able to create something from the ground, I suppose it's definitely something that is new to me. So I would say that ultimately this experience was quite enjoyable. I would say there are definitely sometimes where it might feel like there's a lot of workload, and then me and Yang would just have to delegate and work things out, and it was quite smooth ultimately. So I would say it's quite a alright journey.
That's great. Actually, you also mentioned imposter syndrome, and I know it's something that I myself also suffered from. I guess for me, coming from a school there was only like 3 of us from my school in law school, like in our batch. So I know that it's also something that I myself struggled with a lot, like not feeling that I deserve to be here. But I was just wondering, have the rest of you, I guess, felt this, and how did you guys deal with it?
I think I definitely have, especially when law school was first beginning. But like I said, it gets a lot better when you talk to other people and you realize you're not the only one feeling like an imposter. But I think ultimately another thing that really helps is clinging on to these small good parts, especially academically. So if you do a large assignment, like you might not do that well, but I think there will usually be 1 or 2 good comments, and when I looked at them, I always use them to motivate myself to say like, look, okay, I am capable of writing these certain parts which are good, so I only need to work on the rest. And I felt like when you think of it like that, it really does help, because you just reframe the issue. So it's no longer a situation where you feel like you're incapable. It's just, I am capable, I'm just not at the level just yet, but I'm working on it. So you're very much more a work in progress rather than, consigned to never being good enough to perform to the level that you want to be,
I think for me at the start, I did feel a bit of imposter syndrome, because compared to the rest of law school, I wasn't really like taking my A-level grades into account. I'm not one like typical law student who gets like, close to perfect or perfect score. So it kind of felt bad at the start when, you go to class and everybody is just class partying a lot compared to you, and you're just sitting there wondering what's going on, right? So at the start, I definitely felt a bit, especially for luck, because, my class is pretty talented, and I'm very lost every class. So how I got around it was that, of course, my friends, finding a group of friends that studied with me and whatnot helped. And also I think something that I learned over the course of Sem 1 and beginning into Sem 2 was that you learn to reset after every assignment, or I learned to reset after every assignment, so that I do not let the sort of quote-unquote poor performance of the previous assignment or previous work carry on into the next one, and I start every new assignment on a blank sheet of paper. Of course, keeping in mind the things that I need to improve lah. So I think that helped a lot in, as what Yang Yang said, reframing the issue. It became sort of like, okay, here's what I need to work on, I will work on this, and then it became sort of a always learning process, instead of I didn't do well in this part, I'm not as good as other people. Yeah, I think reframing the issue really helps. It depends on I'm pretty sure it differs for person to person, but the way I found, or the way I reframed the issue for myself was to reset after every sort of major assignment and just learn from my mistakes. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think mostly on the point about reframing it. So for me, how I went through this, like my thought process, I just tried to logic my way through things. So I just think, okay, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I feel I'm not good enough. So what? I just need to find out where I'm lacking and work on that. Because ultimately, if you completely rationalize it, it just becomes your feeling, your emotions are just your head messing with you. Even if it's true, so what? You can do something about it. Yeah, it just takes that small bit of reframing. What can you do about it, and then work from there. Then you slowly make your way up.
Yeah.
I think we also touched a bit about, I guess, motivation and drive, which I know is something that I struggled with because, and it's also like the advice that I always give to my juniors when they say they're thinking about applying to law school, then I go, make sure you have a good reason why. If not, you'll feel like you're dying. So I guess in that sense, how do you guys, I guess because even though we all have, I guess, a reason of choosing to study law, whether that be a PC reason that we say in our interview or not, we all have a reason, but I guess it can't really be the only reason that I guess carries you through this like PC reason. So how else do you guys find, I guess, motivation to keep going along, especially when times are tough or when you don't do so well? Like, how do you find the motivation to do the reframing and things like that?
I think maybe I can start on this because my answer is probably going to be the least helpful. So for me, it's largely a fear of failure. Like I just put myself in a position in future like where I think about things and oh no, I knew I could work on it back then, but I was lazy or I lost motivation and think about how I would feel, and yeah, that drives me out. But then again, like I mentioned, that's not very healthy. Yeah, so that's just my personal take on it. Yeah.
I'm not sure if my answer is going to be very helpful also, but for me is
Okay.
I derive pleasure from the challenge. So to me is sort of, I would of course would like to do well, but even when I don't, meet personal expectations, I don't find it demoralizing. Of course in the moment I'll find it demoralizing, but give it a few days and I will get over it pretty quickly because I enjoy the challenge of grinding it out and trying to, achieve something that I perceive to be very difficult, which is in this, for our intents and purposes, is law school. So yeah, I'm not very sure how helpful this is, but I guess my advice would be, or what I would say is that try to treat it as a learning process and try to treat it as, a personal challenge for yourself. And whether or not you can overcome that challenge depends on you and, whether you derive enjoyment / fulfillment from overcoming your challenges. Yeah. So I tend to set I've been told that I set pretty high expectations on myself, but that's just inherent in how I enjoy challenging myself. Yeah.
Do you guys have anything to add about, I guess, finding motivation?
I guess like one way you could do it is, for me, I try to set time schedules and make sure that I organize my time properly. Like maybe after every, I suppose, subject in a module, I'll try to plan it out like per week, I suppose, like when I should make notes, when I should revise, etc. and stuff. And then during, let's say, when exams coming, there's usually a 2 to 3 weeks break, I suppose. Then I'll try to organize when I'll study which module and try to study within those timings that I set for myself. But of course, there must be certain flexibility so you don't overstress yourself. Like if you can't fit in all the studying material within that time limit that you set yourself in, it's not very healthy as well. So flexibility is definitely important. I think that requires, I suppose, some patience, I suppose, to really understand how you can achieve this flexibility. It might be different for others, but for me, I just try to keep the time limit a bit more, not really wide per se, but I tell myself that it's okay if I can't finish studying the contents of, for this little time period, because I will usually set time period or within 1 week after to perhaps fit the materials that I didn't manage to study currently to next week, and that's fine. That's fine. You just have to, I guess, keep telling yourself, I guess, remain optimistic and hopeful that you'll be fine. There's definitely time if you put your mind to it. You'll definitely achieve what you want to achieve on. Yeah.
How do you remain optimistic and hopeful?
Oh, okay, that's a very good question. I think for me, I think I trained my mind since like young actually. Like whenever I guess met some hurdles or anything, I'll just always tell myself that it's alright, be hopeful, I just convince myself. And when you're young, you just it's just what you think. You don't really have a reason for it. So I guess it kind of became a habit. Like, just to tell myself, hey, remain hopeful, remain optimistic, you're gonna be fine, you know, your friends are here for you, everything's gonna be fine, your family is here, it's all good, you know. The world is good, yeah. I just have to remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, have you anything to add?
I think I was slightly different. I really only felt more motivated in Sem 2. I think in Sem 1 I was really all over the place because I was really trying to find my footing in law school, and because I wasn't really sure whether law was even really the thing for me, so I guess I didn't really put my mind to my studies as much. So like when we got our results, my results across the board were like hot garbage. Like when I opened them on the day they were released, I was like, oh my god, like wow, that's really bad. But then after that, I guess I really thought to myself, and I was like, you know what, like I want to prove to myself that I'm not dumb, you know. Like it was like, I guess it was kind of like I was motivated, like I was pretty much only competing with myself. I wanted to prove to myself that I was capable, because I was like, okay, I got into this course, which realistically speaking means that I must be able to understand things and do things properly. So I really tried a lot harder in Sem 2, and I was motivated by that. Especially, I guess, just the thought that if I don't put everything I have into it, I'll never really know what I'm capable of. So yeah, I think that was really it for me.
Yeah, I think I do resonate a bit with that about the whole like finding your footing in Sem 2. Because I think I only decided that I kind of enjoyed being in law school after Sem 1. So for me, finding that motivation and I guess also finding the balance of not having to be good at doing something that I liked. Yeah, it was I guess a mentality that I had going into Sem 2, which I think did help me I guess move forward and find motivation. Yeah. So I think maybe just to wrap up, we can, or I guess if the freshies want to know how they can get involved with spaces or what they should look out for, maybe you could share a bit about that.
Alright, so for freshies, right, you can actually look out for any sign-up sheets, and it can be through the school itself, like, you know, the buildings, the walls, or like the Telegram group, or even the Instagram page, which is spaces.nuslaw. Yeah, you can just find it there. And that's basically where you can usually find out on how you want to sign up. So our expo and subcom will actually open to any year ones joining, and of course it'll be an incredible way to like build a community so early on. You can be involved, you can actually shape and mold this new initiative into something even better than what we currently have right now, and eventually you can also pass it on to future batches, and you can, you know, further improve it. And I think ultimately, hopefully this initiative will turn out something, I guess, larger, not really larger than law school, because we're kind of confined to law school, I suppose, but you know, larger than what we currently have now. So yeah, and I guess other than just the XCOM and subcoms, you can also become a member. That's like very flexible. You know, sometimes we just need volunteers for the different events we plan out, and you guys can just, you know, say, I want to volunteer. Why not? You know, it's quite flexible.
Thank you. I guess, do you guys have any leaving or parting advice for the freshies when it comes to Acads or mental health or just law school in general?
I think an important thing is not to let yourself be defined by law school. Yeah, it's important to have a life, and it really, really helps if there's something you look forward to every day other than something in law school. Yeah, like for me, I play sports outside, so it's just a great disconnect. You go there, you focus on the game, you play the game, and in that moment, nothing else matters. Yeah, it's a great feeling, and yeah, I think it keeps you grounded as well. Like you are who you are. You're not a law student. You're just you. Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think for freshies, you should really remember that law school is not the be all and all. Law school is 4 years of your life, but it doesn't necessarily define anything that you're going to be doing in the future. Some of you guys might want to practice and stay in practice. Some of you guys might go to other legal roles. Some of you might leave the industry altogether and study something completely different. And all of those paths are valid. Don't think that this is it, that this is the final thing. This is going to define everything else in your life and who you are now. It's only a small part of it. So really just be patient with yourself and make the best of your situation, make friends, make memories, which I think are going to be the best part of law school for you.
I think for me, I would say, okay, so firstly, I'm like an over-stressor. So I kind of just over-stress about anything that that's new to me. But as I embark on this, I guess, new journey, I realized that, hey, there's actually nothing to be really stressed over, because when you're actually in the journey itself, it's actually quite a natural feeling. You're just learning and developing and growing at your own pace. And the new things that you're gonna learn, it's not gonna be immediately thrown at you. There is definitely time for you to really process, to really learn about yourself, learn how you manage time, learn how you manage your academics. And yeah, it's nothing to be very stressed about throughout the whole process. I mean, pre-stress, it's normal, it's fine. I think ultimately it's just try to not stress too much. Like, don't let it affect your daily life too much, I would assume. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for joining us today. If any of the freshies y'all are interested in learning more about Spaces, you can check out their Instagram page, which is
spaces.nuslaw. Yeah.
spaces.nuslaw. And you can also come and meet some of the seniors in person during our subclub fair on the last day of Freshers Week. Yes, so thank you guys for joining us today, and we hope to see y'all next week. And do keep a lookout on the NUS Law Orientation Instagram for a chance to ask us questions, whether that be in general or specifically to Tong, Yang Yang, or Iain. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.